playing soccer professionally in New York, and I was loving life. Like God had an amazing plan. It seemed like it was all laid out perfectly just to step into. And we were practicing one day, and I ended up tearing my ACL.
So I had just tried out for a soccer team in Charlotte in January, and I had 3 months where I had no clue what I was going to do with my life. And honestly, it was a really difficult time because I just kept asking God, like, what do you have for me? I know you have a call on my life, but nothing seems to be falling into place. And I was just in this waiting period.
I remember like sitting with my mom, and she said something, and she was like, Phil, you never know why God brought you here. It could have been like to completely change your life. It could have been to meet the woman you're going to marry.
In April of 2012, I was invited by one of my friends and my pastor's wife to go check out this house of prayer.
I go crutching into the house of prayer, and it was me and all these older women in there, and it's usually just us. That's what it is. It's like a group of us, and we're praying, we're pressing into God. And for some reason this morning, there was a young woman sitting across the room, and she was there with a friend, and I'd never seen them before.
This guy walks in the room, and I was so confused, and I was trying to look over at him to see if he was attractive. But I don't have the best vision, so I was like squinting over there, but trying not to make it obvious.
Within minutes, as I walked in the room, my mom called me to the middle of the room and called Kaylin to the middle of the room as well.
We had this word spoken over us that we would be used by God to draw our generation back to Christ, and it was an amazing time of prayer.
After that, we sat down, and I just remember God just like so put it on my heart. He's like, Phil, you really need to get to know this woman. He didn't say anything else to me like besides that. He's like, you really need to get to know her. We just had so much in common that I was like, I just came home to New Hampshire just like trying to seek God for what he has for my life, and then this poured out. Then this woman's standing here in front of me, like I had no idea that this was going to happen.
I left, and I left with my pastor's wife, and we got in the car, and we saw him walk out the building, and we just looked at each other like, what was that? And I tried to keep my cool, but Lisa was just, she started freaking out. She was like, oh my gosh, you have to invite me to your wedding. It's always been such a longing of my heart to finally meet him. Now being in the place that I am and working with so many young girls who are longing for that same thing, I get to tell them that it's so worth the wait. It's worth it to stay pure. It's worth it to save yourself for that one person, to be able to give yourself wholeheartedly to that person, to know that God has someone picked out for them that is gonna just love them unconditionally. And I can preach that now from a standpoint of knowing God's faithfulness.
And the love we have together is just an expression of the glory of God that we never could have had by ourselves.
There's nothing like living for Jesus and living out his best for your life, and that we just want today to be all glory and thanks to him.